Hello guys, and welcome to another Player's View State of the Division. So what exactly does all that mean? Well, I try and do these videos weekly, but it doesn't always happen. I know I made a video a week or so ago basically complaining a lot about the game. I also put up some video gameplay showing what I was talking about when it came to the video game freezing. And that's mostly what I have to talk about today, as well as some other changes that have happened very recently. So, diving right into it, one of the first things that I want to talk about is the fact that the game is still freezing a lot. It's, in my opinion, unacceptable for that to happen, for a patch to come out. And supposedly, it's listed under known issues, so it's not like they're not saying, oh, we don't know if this is a problem. What I don't like is the fact it's taking so long to fix it. I mean, this at times makes the game completely unplayable, and it's still something that, we don't have a hey, this is what a fix, when a fix is coming. And if you look on the Division's Reddit, you will see I saw today maybe two, maybe three posts on the front page talking about players having problems with the game freezing, especially in the Dark Zone. Now, this stutter, other things like that, didn't happen anywhere else for me except the Dark Zone until patch 1.3. Now I'm getting it out of the Dark Zone, I'm getting it in other places, in the Underground, things like that. But now it's much worse in the Dark Zone. So, what all is going on with that? I don't know. I mean, it's listed under known issues. I hope they get onto it. It should be, in my opinion, the number one issue that they need to patch, flat out. Everything else, balancing this, that, and the other, quality of life things, all those other things, put on the back burner until this is fixed, in my opinion. It is the number one reason why I guarantee you at this point, players are going to be quitting the game, is because of this performance issue. It is awful, awful at times. And I'm not sure if it's just a client-side thing, if it's a server-side thing as well. I got on, I want to say, what was it, probably Saturday? I think it was Saturday, yeah. And it really wasn't that bad. I was really impressed. I was like, what happened? Maybe did they push out a small patch? Did what changed? And it wasn't that bad. And the next day I get on and it was just constant. It was awful. So it might be server related. I don't know. It just something wasn't working right there. I'll put it that way. It may be there's things you need to tweak on the client side and on the server side as well to get that working correctly. I'm not really sure. All I know is it's a major problem and it really, really needs to be fixed. Okay, so the next thing here is they did a maintenance. Actually, they had a lot of maintenances last week. One of those maintenances, what it did was it increased base. Every single weapon has now increased 20% damage to players. So basically, PvP, everyone got a 20% buff. Now, I believe that they did this to try and combat the Tanktician, which, to be perfectly honest, I don't run Tankticians. I've had a couple people in my party that have run Tankticians, but I personally don't. I don't have a problem with Tankticians. They may have been a little bit harder to kill in patch 1.2, but in patch 1.3, you're still sitting there. Yeah, they can have a higher health pool, but we also have more damage that we can dish out now towards those Tankticians. And CC from a shock turret, other things like that, is still very effective. CC from a flashbang, still very effective at taking those guys out. And yeah, they're not always the easiest thing to take out, and if you have several in a party and it's very well built, and they know what they're doing, it can be difficult at times, but it wasn't ever impossible to kill them. And the thing about Tankticians is if you're running Final Measure, they have 100% absolutely no way to kill you. They can't kill you. So eventually you're going to wear them out. You're going to wear them down. You're going to kill them. You're going to be able to start picking them off. Your team's going to be able to focus fire one of them down while they're shocked or flashed or something. And it's going to happen, especially with the DPS you can pull out nowadays. So I think they did this to combat Tankticians because while weapons were increased, the sticky bomb damage didn't increase. Other things like that, tankiness didn't increase with this patch. The small patch that they did, I believe server side, to give everyone a 20% buff in PvP damage. So, again, I think they did that to combat Tankticians, but the other side of this is even before patch 1.3 came out, there were rumors, grumblings, people in my circle talking about really good shotgun builds. So whenever they were nerfing Sentry so that it would not apply to automatic weapons, it would only apply to semi-automatics, which include shotguns, pistols, sniper rifles. So people running around and getting some really good shotgun builds. And of course, the whole idea of the shotgun build is you mark someone with a shotgun in the headshot. I believe that every single, I could be wrong about this, by the way, I believe every single pellet could count as a bullet, and so you could pop someone in the head with a shotgun, and that gets 3 marks on them. You may have to pop them 3 times, I'm not 100% sure, but you would shoot them in the head, they get the marks, which if you got 3 would give you 40, you and your entire team do 45% more damage to that target, which is very significant. And of course, you end up killing them. So there was kind of grumblings that that was going to start being the new meta. And of course, patch 1.3 comes out, and more people are doing that. Even some big YouTubers are saying that Shotgun Sentry is the only way to go. It's the only way to get the highest DPS in the game and to become that PvP god. Nothing else even comes close, and I agree. I mean, just from my playing, I actually am not running that because I don't have the pieces, and I don't feel like going and farming Falcon's Lost, which is a whole other topic I'm going to talk about in a second, to get all the pieces I need to make a viable Sentry shotgun build. Like to run DZ. That's really where I love to play. And if it wasn't for the lag and the fact that everyone's using the shotgun, I mean, you can beat them. It's not a big a deal, but I mean, it does kind of suck. So what happened is those guys were already, I mean, I was already hearing about people one-shotting, two-shotting people before they did this 20% buff across all weapons to damage. And then they do the 20% buff, and now you have people running around. The best team build out there is 3 Sentry shotgun players and the 1 Reclaimer. And the Reclaimer is so that you can put on explosive rounds, which I understand, yes, they were tamed down, but explosive rounds will still do the damage of the bullet. So you have now a person being able to do 100 and something K damage, base damage, bullet damage with their shotgun shot. Then you put on a good scan, so the Reclaimer guy probably has a high skill build so he can get, consumables back quickly, and he has a high scan, things like that. And, so you run, you have a shotguns, you might run, say, shock turrets, so CC, then you would run overheals with triage, obviously. You'd have a 1 Reclaimer guy in your group, and everyone, basically, you would always have explosive bullets on with super overpowered shotgun builds, and you just walk around one-shotting everyone in the DZ. And that's the new meta, and it just seems like the 20% bonus to damage for other classes besides the Shotgun Sentry was probably okay. It feels good, or feels better. Going up against shotgun guys before was already really difficult, and now it's very difficult. You need to put space between them, CC them. Don't let them get close to you, or else they'll just completely burn you down. You kind of have to. They're going to try and rush you, and you need to kill them before they get to you, or CC them if they get close to you and move away from them, and then shoot them again. It's kind of difficult to combat that particular meta, not because it's so tanky, but because it's just so high DPS-y, and they can literally walk right up to you, pop you in the head, and you're dead. And that's with, I mean, I've been 2-shot with 550,000 toughness, something like that, full armor. It's crazy. They're just boom, boom, and before you have time to react, you're dead. It's absolute insanity, and especially if they have explosive rounds, they could damn near kill you in 1 shot. So it's absolute craziness, and it seems like the knee-jerk reaction to 20% damage was something they maybe should have looked at whenever Tankticians were being the big build. That's not even the meta anymore, and they did a knee-jerk reaction to the Tanktician problem when Shotgun Sentries is actually the new meta, and the problem, I should say, if we're looking at OP builds, and instead they just made them more OP. So that seems like a very too little too late kind of thing, and really moved that in the wrong direction. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not a fan of huge, long, drawn-out fights that last a million years. I'm also not a fan of, one-shotting someone. It's they need to find the balance, and they're not doing a good job of that, especially with that 20% buff across. I mean, shotguns are already buffed on top of that in 1.3, and then you add the buff again. You're asking for trouble, and it seems like their balance teams, supposedly they've been promising, we're going to bring more balance, we're going to bring more balance, we're going to bring more balance, we're going to bring more balance. but it just seems like their balanced teams don't have a frickin' clue about what's going on, or what the metas are, or how it's being played. They say they're aware of all these things, but they're still talking about, Tankticians is like, we're watching Tankticians. Yeah, forget about Tankticians. Tankticians is not the problem anymore. The fact they're even bringing up Tankticians like they are still a problem is just asinine in my opinion, but whatever. It just means that you don't really understand. Excuse me, you don't really understand, or you don't understand quickly what's happening with the meta and how fast it's changing and what's going on and what the current meta is and has been for weeks. It, to even say, we're worried about Tankticians. No, that's not the build you guys should be looking at balancing. So another thing I want to bring up, obviously, is the fact, and this kind of all ties in, and this has been, brought up over and time again. Lots of people are complaining that, you have to do certain types of activities to get certain types of weapon drops, to get certain types of, well, I would say weapon drops, certain types of gear drops. So if you want Striker Sentry, there's a high drop rate of Striker Sentry if you do Falcon Lost, which is a mind-numbing, boring, terrible, god-awful incursion. Or if you want other types of things, you'll run Underground. If you want Firecrest Blind, if you want Reclaimer, evidently, you run the new incursion, which isn't terribly bad. It's just people are idiots. I tried to pug group the other day, and I wanted to smash my head against a wall because people are legitimately stupid in how to play that particular incursion. It was mind-blowing to me. There's all these little tips and tricks and stand here and do this. And you're like, dude, we can literally kill everything. We have enough DPS to kill this. When ads spawn, we can kill them. It just, I don't want to get into it, but I'm just saying people are stupid with that stupid incursion. So it's a whole other thing. But what I really think they should do, actually, for another thing, is they're saying they're going to be generous on loot. I mean, greens don't drop out of the DZ like they should to begin with. And that's a whole other talk. That's my last talk. Can't talk. That is my last topic I'm going to talk about here in a minute. But what I think they should do as far as all the loot is they should really just give you a token. They should give you the bosses drop tokens. Instead of you getting a green item, you get tokens. And you take those tokens and you trade them into a vendor saying, I want to purchase this particular set item. And it can roll high, it can roll low. It can, at that point, the RNG takes care of the roll. And for, areas where like, well, why don't you just take that token and always buy 268? Well, you could have different levels of token. You could have like a level 1 token, a level 2 token, different things like that. And I think you should even be able to have it so that, let's say, and a level 3 token. So level 3 token would be, say, like 214, 240 would be a level 2 token, and a level 1 token, or even however you want to put it in your head, would be a 268. So if you wanted to buy a 268 item, you could use one level 1 token. You could use something like 3 level 2 tokens and like 6 level 3 tokens to buy a 268. So, I should say or. So even if you were, say, farming lower stuff, you could still kind of save all that up and still get a high-end item. But, if you're down farming, and the token, you could also make the token drops random. Like, you can get 268 gear. I did, out of DZ1. It happens. I got a green cash off a DZ1 boss, and I opened it up and it had a 268 gear piece in it. So you can just randomize the tokens. Like, if you're in DZ5 and 6, you're always going to get, level 1 tokens. If you're in DZ, whatever, and you can just, do it that way. But it's a way for everyone to gear up and also get the gear that they want. Like, I can sit there, it's not just, I need this particular piece of gear, but I need this particular piece of gear, especially when you're min-maxing. You need it to roll in a specific way, because you can only re-roll one stat. So I may need to get 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 5 million, depending on if the RNG gods hate my guts, drops of this one particular item just to get the roll that I'm like, okay, I can get this, and even with needing to re-roll one thing, I still need a lot of drops because I'm going to need 3 or 4 things to roll correctly. And I know I've said this in other videos. I'm going to say it again. You have to get that perfect drop almost just to get to it, because it's like, I got that great drop, but the main stat's bad. I'm going to have to re-roll that. Fine, but that means I need certain other stats on that particular piece to roll correctly for my build, or I'm out of luck. Or I need the main stat to be good, and I need another 2 other stats on this to roll correctly for my build, and I can re-roll whatever the third one is that isn't quite what I want. It's difficult. So I really think they should implement a token system instead of just these drops. That way people can do whatever they want to do, whether it's incursions, whether it's dailies, whether it's the DZ, whether it's the underground, all these things. Just give them tokens and then let them go to a vendor and buy the pieces that they want. Because it's ridiculous. I play the game a lot, and people want to be able to do different things. Not everyone wants to do DZ. Not everyone wants to do incursions. Not everyone wants to do dailies. Not everyone wants to do the underground. Let people play the way they want to play, and instead of saying, "Oh, we're going to wait things," use a token system that fixes it. It fixes the problem 100%. People can play in any way they want to, and I'm sure there's going to be like, "Oh, well, this is the fastest way to get tokens," so people just start grinding the shit out of that because that's the fastest way to get tokens. Who gives a shit? If someone told me the fastest way to get tokens is by going and running around in a circle for 5 hours, I'm not going to do it. Because it's not fun gameplay. And yes, there are people that are absolutely going to do that. They're like, I've got 1,000,000 guesses. So what? Honestly, so what? I'm going to go play the way I want to play it as long as it's not terribly unrewarding, which also brings me back to the fact I think every single named boss in the DZ, this is going to kind of slide in a little bit, or transitioning topics here. Every boss in the DZ should drop gear sets every time you kill them. Every single time you kill a boss in the DZ, it should drop a green item. None of this, well, you might get the green item and you might not, if you're lucky. No, fuck that. Give us a set item every single time we kill a boss. It's ridiculous, and the DZ is fucking hard as shit right now. I mean, you're literally trying to run around and with raid level or incursion level NPCs that are at heroic level, with people trying to shoot you in the back, and roaming groups of NPCs running around, and you're not even guaranteed a freaking set piece when you kill the boss. It's insanity. And I think what they really should honestly do is, in the DZ, they should leave the bosses the way they are. Bosses are difficult, bosses are hard. Make sure the bosses always drop, the set item, or if you were to go to a token system, a good token every single time. Leave the bosses at the health and damage and whatever they are right now. That's fine. But take all the other little minions, all the little minions running around the boss, all the little roaming groups, and make them squishy as fuck. Really. We don't need really tough minions on top of the PvP aspect, which I love PvP. I mean, I'm in the Dark Zone for PvP. Some people feel they need to farm the Dark Zone for this, that, and the other. But if you go to the Dark Zone, the main reason why you go in the Dark Zone is to kill some bosses, get some gear, and engage in PvP. And PvP right now is getting completely choked out by mobs. You can't run around. You can't do things. You're going to sit there and be like, I'm engaging in PvP, and one level 33 shotgunner comes up and 2-shots you when you have 600,000 toughness. That's not fun gameplay. It's awful gameplay. So I agree, bosses need to be difficult, players need challenge, we shouldn't make things too easy for them, so I don't have a problem with the bosses, the named characters in the DZ, being as difficult as they are right now. The problem I have is all the other mobs sitting around the boss, and all the roaming mobs roaming here and there and everywhere else in the DZ are way too powerful to be in the same area where there's a ton of PvP going on. It's not fun, it's not good, it's terrible, it feels awful, and it's terrible gameplay. And I still go to the DZ, I'm still going to be playing a lot, but I really hope those things change, because it leads to so many issues, to so many problems. If I want to win a PvP fight, all I have to do is just make sure that I'm on the right side of the mobs, and I hardly have to fire a shot. I just have to live long enough for the mobs to kill off everybody. And then run, and pop a super and run, and hope the mobs don't kill me through my super. Because they will. It's bad. Feels bad. Hashtag feels bad. It needs to be fixed. So, have anything good to say? Man, I really wish I did, but I don't. I hope these things get fixed. I hope they progress and get better. But as of right now, I don't know. I don't know if I'm a masochist, that's why I'm still playing, or I'm stupid. But I'm still enjoying certain things at certain points. I'm still enjoying playing with my friends to certain points. But every time I get on, it just the freezing, the lag, the bugs, the fact that PvP is broken, the fact that these mobs are way too powerful for that situation feels really bad, feels really broken, and it just wears on you more and more and more. And I know eventually it's going to break. Unless these things change, eventually I'm going to say, I'm putting this game up and I'm putting it up forever. And that's the point that's the road I am on right now unless these things change. And it's not a road I want to be on, but and maybe if they change I'll come back and try it again. And I'm not quitting right now, but I'm really headed down that road. That's where we're at. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to me rant. Thanks for listening to me talk. A follow would be great. I'm not a big YouTuber, but I appreciate all the views. I appreciate the comments. Like and subscribe, I guess. And until next time.